Welcome back to our chilling series exploring the haunted corners of the Pacific Northwest, where mist-shrouded forests, jagged coastlines, and centuries-old legends converge to create an atmosphere steeped in mystery and dread. In this fifth installment of Most Haunted Places in Washington State, we delve deeper into the shadows cast by ghostly tales that defy explanation. From abandoned asylums to eerie lighthouses perched on storm-lashed cliffs, Washington is a treasure trove of spectral stories rooted in tragedy, betrayal, and unrelenting sorrow. Washington's haunted places are more than just locations. They're vessels carrying the echoes of lives lived and lost. These sites bear witness to events that continue to reverberate through time: shipwrecks swallowed by the Salish Sea, unsolved murders cloaked in secrecy, and the lingering presence of those who refuse to move on. Each place holds its own dark secrets, whispered through creaking floorboards, flickering lights, and disembodied voices that drift through empty halls. Whether you're drawn by morbid curiosity or an insatiable thirst for the supernatural, these destinations promise encounters that blur the line between reality and nightmare. In this episode, we'll journey to some of the most infamous haunted locales across Washington, places steeped in lore and fear, where the past refuses to stay buried. We'll peer into the shadowy depths of haunted hotels, explore eerie mansions cloaked in mystery, and tread cautiously through abandoned institutions teeming with restless spirits. Along the way, we'll hear first-hand accounts from witnesses brave enough to confront the unknown, examine chilling evidence captured by paranormal investigators, and unravel the tragic histories that give rise to these hauntings. So dim the lights, keep your ears sharp, and prepare yourself for a descent into the macabre. As we step into the haunted heart of Washington State, remember, sometimes, the most terrifying truths lie just beyond the veil, and once you cross it, there's no turning back. The Thornwood Castle, a Gothic enigma nestled on the shores of American Lake near Tacoma, Thornwood Castle stands as a haunting testament to opulence and despair, a grand Tudor-style mansion whose beauty belies a darker narrative steeped in tragedy and supernatural activity. Built in 1908 by Chester Thorne, one of Tacoma's founding fathers, the castle was constructed using materials salvaged from a 15th-century English manor, dismantled brick by brick and shipped to the United States. With its towering turrets, stained glass windows, and sprawling gardens, Thornwood epitomizes elegance and sophistication. Yet beneath its polished exterior lies a history marked by scandal, heartbreak, and untimely deaths. One of the most enduring legends tied to Thornwood Castle revolves around the spirit of Lisa, a young woman said to have drowned in the lake during the early 20th century. According to local lore, Lisa fell deeply in love with a man who frequented the estate, but was forbidden from seeing him due to her family's disapproval. Overcome with grief after his sudden departure, she took her own life by walking into the icy waters of American Lake. Guests staying at the castle frequently report strange occurrences: lights flickering inexplicably, doors opening and closing on their own, and the overwhelming scent of roses lingering in the air. Some claim to see a translucent figure dressed in white wandering the grounds, her hollow eyes fixed on the shimmering surface of the lake. Another prominent figure in the castle's haunted lore is believed to be none other than Clara Thorne, Chester Thorne's wife. Known for her grace and philanthropy, Clara played a pivotal role in shaping Tacoma's social scene during the early 1900s. However, her later years were marred by declining health and personal struggles exacerbated by the loss of loved ones. Paranormal investigators exploring the property have captured EVP recordings suggesting the presence of a female entity whispering phrases like, "Come closer," and "Don't leave me." Witnesses describe seeing a shadowy figure resembling Clara pacing anxiously near windows, clutching what appears to be a locket before vanishing without a trace. The castle's basement, once used for storage and staff quarters, has become a focal point of paranormal activity. Employees tasked with cleaning the area often describe hearing chains rattling and heavy footsteps echoing through the cavernous space, though no one else is present. Some claim to see shadowy figures dragging invisible loads, their movements jerky and unnatural. A particularly chilling account comes from a maintenance worker who swore he felt cold metal cuffs snap around his wrists, pulling him backward toward the darkness before releasing him abruptly. Overnight visitors to Thornwood Castle frequently recount bizarre experiences that defy logical explanation. Lights flicker unpredictably, especially in hallways leading to the older sections of the building. Doors slam shut on their own, and the scent of cigar smoke wafts through the air despite the castle's strict no-smoking policy. One guest described waking up to find his reflection in the mirror staring back at him, but not quite matching his movements, as if another entity stood behind him, mimicking his actions. Another recounted seeing a man in a dusty Victorian-era suit standing at the foot of her bed, his hollow eyes boring into hers before vanishing without a sound. Despite, or perhaps because of, its haunted reputation, Thornwood Castle remains a popular destination for weddings, film productions, and thrill-seekers alike. Its rich tapestry of human drama, interwoven with tragedy and loss, creates an atmosphere unlike any other. For those brave enough to book a stay or attend an event, the possibility of encountering Lisa, Clara Thorne, or one of the countless other spirits said to roam its halls adds an element of excitement and trepidation. Yet, as each new visitor crosses its threshold, they must decide whether they are ready to face the darkness that lingers within these walls, or will they become another chapter in the castle's tragic tale. Fort Wardens, echoes of war and isolation perched along the rugged coastline of Port Townsend, Fort Wardens stands as a solemn sentinel of military history. A sprawling coastal defense installation built in the late 19th century to protect Puget Sound from naval threats. Its massive gun emplacements, labyrinthine tunnels, and imposing barracks evoke a sense of permanence and strength, yet within its weathered concrete walls lie stories of isolation, madness, and vengeful spirits unwilling to fade into obscurity. One of the most pervasive legends tied to Fort Wardens involves the underground bunkers and tunnels that snake beneath the fort. Designed to house troops and munitions safely away from enemy fire, these subterranean passages became notorious among soldiers stationed there during World War II. Historical records indicate that conditions were grim, with poor ventilation, constant dampness, and limited access to sunlight exacerbating the mental strain on personnel. Decades later, visitors exploring the tunnels report hearing faint moans and cries emanating from the darkness. Some claim to see shadowy figures huddled in the corners, their faces obscured by darkness, while others describe feeling an oppressive weight pressing down on them as they venture deeper into the maze. Another haunting figure associated with Fort Wardens is believed to be Private Samuel Grayson, a young soldier who served in the fort's garrison during the early 1940s. According to local lore, Grayson struggled with severe homesickness and depression, exacerbated by the isolation of his post. One fateful night, he ventured into the tunnels alone and was never seen again. His body was discovered days later, slumped against a wall deep within the labyrinth. Visitors to Fort Wardens report seeing a gaunt man in tattered fatigues pacing anxiously near the tunnel entrances, his hollow eyes fixed on some unseen point in the distance. Others describe hearing faint whispers pleading for help, accompanied by the rustle of fabric, as though someone is trying to escape. Adding to the fort's haunted allure are the countless drills and exercises that took place within its confines during its operational years. Many believe residual energy from these events remains trapped within the concrete framework, manifesting as phantom sounds of marching boots, shouted commands, and distant explosions. At night, when the fort is bathed in moonlight, some visitors swear they can hear the low rumble of artillery and the metallic clang of machinery, as though a battle from another era continues to unfold. Paranormal investigators exploring Fort Wardens have documented numerous instances of unexplained phenomena. EMF detectors routinely spike in certain areas, particularly near the tunnels and abandoned barracks. EVP recordings capture fragmented sentences like, "Help me," and "I'm scared," delivered in tones of sheer desperation. One investigator captured a chilling photograph of a translucent figure standing motionless at the entrance to a bunker, its hands raised as if begging for mercy. These findings have solidified Fort Wardens' reputation as one of Washington's most active haunted sites. Despite, or perhaps because of, its grim history, Fort Wardens continues to attract curious souls eager to confront its spectral inhabitants. For many, visiting the site serves as both a pilgrimage and a reckoning, an opportunity to honor the lives lost and acknowledge the sacrifices made in pursuit of national security. Whether you're drawn by the allure of its haunting beauty or the weight of its tragic legacy, Fort Wardens offers an unforgettable experience where the past refuses to fade quietly into oblivion. The Oxford Hotel, elegance entangled with the supernatural in the heart of Seattle, where the vibrant energy of downtown meets the historic charm of Pioneer Square, stands the Oxford Hotel, a beacon of refined elegance with a haunting legacy that dates back over a century. Established in 1902, the Oxford quickly became a hub for travelers, dignitaries, and socialites seeking relaxation amidst the bustling cityscape. Its stately architecture, mahogany furnishings, and lush courtyards evoke a sense of timeless grace, yet beneath its polished veneer lies a darker history steeped in tragedy, betrayal, and spectral encounters. One of the most iconic hauntings associated with the Oxford Hotel is that of Elizabeth Morgan, a chambermaid who worked at the establishment in the early 1900s. Described as diligent and kind-hearted, Elizabeth's life was cut tragically short when she fell victim to a mysterious illness that swept through the hotel during the winter of 1913. Her death sent shockwaves through the community, and her memory has since become intertwined with the fabric of the Oxford. Guests and staff alike report seeing a woman in a Victorian-era maid uniform gliding silently through the corridors, her translucent form illuminated by dim light. Some claim to feel an icy draft pass through them as she drifts by, while others report hearing soft humming emanating from empty rooms, believed to be Elizabeth tidying up after guests long gone. Another prominent figure in the hotel's haunted lore is believed to be Captain Richard Langley, a wealthy shipping magnate who frequently stayed at the Oxford during his visits to Seattle. Though not a permanent resident, his larger-than-life personality left an indelible mark on the property. Visitors recount sightings of a tall, imposing man clad in period attire, pacing anxiously near the lobby or sitting alone in the bar. His presence is often accompanied by the faint clinking of spurs and the smell of leather, as though he's preparing for one last voyage. Some speculate that Captain Langley lingers due to unfinished business, unable to part ways with the city that played such a pivotal role in his life. The hotel's basement, once used for storage and laundry operations, has also gained a reputation for paranormal activity. Employees tasked with maintaining the area describe hearing muffled voices and the sound of footsteps echoing through the narrow passageways, though no one else is present. Objects are known to move inexplicably. Tools vanish only to reappear hours later in entirely different locations. One particularly unnerving incident involved a janitor who swore he saw a young boy playing with marbles in the corner of the room, only for the child to disappear when approached. Theories abound that the boy may have been a victim of illness or accident during the hotel's early years, forever trapped in the confines of its lower levels. Modern-day investigations into the Oxford Hotel's supernatural claims have yielded intriguing results. Thermal imaging cameras reveal significant temperature drops in specific areas, including the third-floor hallway and the basement. Electromagnetic field (EMF) meters register unusual spikes, particularly near antique furniture pieces believed to have belonged to original owners. Perhaps the most compelling evidence comes from audio recordings, which capture disembodied voices uttering fragmented sentences like, "I'm sorry," and "Let me go." Despite, or perhaps because of, its haunted allure, the Oxford Hotel continues to draw visitors eager to immerse themselves in its storied past. For those brave enough to book a stay, the opportunity to encounter Elizabeth Morgan, Captain Langley, or one of the countless other spirits said to roam its halls adds an element of excitement and trepidation. Whether you're drawn by the allure of its architectural splendor or the thrill of peeling back the layers of its enigmatic history, the Oxford promises an unforgettable experience where the line between the living and the dead blurs, and the echoes of yesterday linger just beyond reach. Patterns across Washington's haunted places, themes of tragedy and resilience as we traverse the haunted landscapes of Washington. From the opulent halls of Thornwood Castle to the somber grounds of Fort Wardens, striking similarities emerge that transcend individual locations and histories. These patterns are not merely coincidental but reflect universal themes of human emotion, unresolved trauma, and the enduring power of memory. From the wailing wards of hospitals to the shadowed basements of monuments, these sites share a commonality that binds them together in a spectral sisterhood of sorrow and suspense. One recurring motif is the concept of unfinished business. Whether it's the victims of unethical experiments, or the betrayed trust of patients subjected to inhumane treatments. These spirits seem tethered to the earthly realm by grievances left unaddressed. Their presence manifests as restless energy, often communicated through auditory phenomena, cries, whispers, or disembodied voices, that serve as pleas for acknowledgement or closure. This theme resonates across cultures and belief systems, reflecting humanity's innate need to resolve conflict and seek peace, even in death. Another shared characteristic is the role of architecture in amplifying paranormal activity. Historic buildings, with their labyrinthine corridors, thick walls, and hidden alcoves, create environments conducive to isolating individuals and heightening fear. These structural elements act as metaphors for the psychological barriers erected by those who suffered within their confines, trapping emotions such as anger, despair, and regret. It's no coincidence that many reported hauntings occur in spaces imbued with emotional significance: operating rooms where surgeries went awry, basements where bodies were stored, or wards where patients met tragic ends. Lighting and sensory manipulation also feature prominently in these narratives. Flickering lights, sudden temperature drops, and inexplicable odors are staples of ghostly encounters, designed to disorient and unsettle. Such phenomena strip away the comfort of familiarity, forcing guests to confront the unknown. The use of mirrors, a recurring element in stories from various haunted hospitals, adds another layer of psychological tension, as reflections distort perception and blur the boundary between self and other. This interplay of light and shadow becomes a tool wielded by unseen forces, creating moments of visceral terror that linger long after the initial shock subsides. Finally, the prevalence of historical context cannot be overstated. Each location's haunting is deeply rooted in its unique past, shaped by the socio-cultural milieu of its time. The brutal medical practices embedded in the DNA of older establishments contrast sharply with the glamorous yet tragic lives immortalized in urban legends. Yet both narratives tap into broader archetypes of ambition, betrayal, and mortality, ensuring their resonance with audiences regardless of personal experience. By drawing on these universal motifs, these haunted places transform from mere buildings into living repositories of collective memory, inviting us to peer into the abyss of our shared humanity. Thus, while each establishment boasts its own distinct flavor of fright, the underlying threads connecting them reveal a tapestry rich with meaning. These patterns remind us that the supernatural is not so much about the entities themselves but the stories they tell, the echoes of lives interrupted, passions extinguished, and truths obscured. As we continue to explore these haunted locales, we find ourselves grappling not only with the specters of the past but with the timeless questions they raise about life, death, and everything in between. What is it about haunted places that grips our imaginations so profoundly? Beyond the creaking floorboards and flickering lights lies a deeper allure, one rooted in the psychology of fear and the human fascination with the unknown. These sites, by their very nature, are places of vulnerability. They are where we confront our mortality, stripped of autonomy and control, relying entirely on the expertise of others to heal us, or where justice was denied, leaving wounds that refuse to heal. When these spaces become haunted, they amplify our primal fears, transforming familiar settings into arenas of existential dread. The combination of historical context, architectural design, and the lingering presence of past suffering creates a perfect storm of terror that resonates deeply within us. The core of this captivation is the concept of liminality, the state of being on the threshold between two worlds. Haunted places exist in this liminal space, bridging life and death, health and illness, hope and despair. This inherent duality makes them fertile ground for supernatural narratives. Ghosts, as manifestations of unresolved trauma or unfinished business, embody the tension of being caught between states. They serve as reminders that the boundaries we construct, between life and afterlife, sanity and madness, are far more permeable than we'd like to believe. For many, visiting a haunted site feels like stepping into a twilight zone where the rules of reality no longer apply, igniting both curiosity and unease. Architecturally, haunted places contribute to this atmosphere of dread through their design. Long, sterile hallways lined with identical doors create a sense of disorientation, while poor lighting and echoing acoustics heighten sensory awareness. These features mimic the psychological effects of anxiety and claustrophobia, making even mundane sounds, a distant cough, the hum of fluorescent lights, feel ominous. The labyrinthine layouts of older structures, with their hidden wings and underground tunnels, evoke feelings of entrapment and uncertainty. Every corner becomes a potential threat, every shadow a possible harbinger of danger. This environmental manipulation taps into our instinctual fight-or-flight response, keeping us perpetually on edge. Cultural influences also play a significant role in shaping our fascination with haunted places. Media representations, from films like The Shining to television series such as American Horror Story, have cemented the trope of the haunted asylum, courthouse, or battlefield as a locus of horror. These portrayals often blend historical truths with fictional embellishments, creating a mythology that blurs fact and fiction. Audiences are drawn to these stories because they reflect societal anxieties about institutional power, systemic injustice, and the fragility of the human mind. Haunted places become microcosms of larger fears, the loss of agency, the misuse of authority, and the haunting specter of mistakes made in the name of progress. Moreover, haunted places appeal to our desire for catharsis. Engaging with these tales allows us to process our own fears about mortality, injustice, and the flaws inherent in systems meant to protect us. By confronting ghostly apparitions and unexplained phenomena, we externalize internal anxieties, transforming abstract fears into tangible adversaries. This vicarious experience provides a safe outlet for exploring the darker aspects of human existence, offering both thrill and relief. It's no wonder that ghost tours and paranormal investigations of haunted places attract participants eager to test their courage against the unknown. Ultimately, the enduring allure of haunted places lies in their ability to mirror our deepest fears while challenging our understanding of reality. They remind us that the past is never truly buried, that pain and injustice leave indelible marks on both people and places. As we walk their haunted halls, we are forced to confront not only the spirits said to inhabit them but also the ghosts within ourselves, the regrets, doubts, and unanswered questions that linger long after the wounds have healed. In doing so, we find a strange comfort in knowing that we are not alone in our fears, that others have walked these same paths and emerged, shaken but alive, to tell their stories. As we bring this chilling journey through Washington's most haunted places to a close, one thing becomes abundantly clear: the spirits of the past refuse to be silenced. Each creaking floorboard, each whispered name, and each fleeting shadow serves as a testament to lives lived, lost, and lingering in the spaces we dare to call haunted. These stories are more than mere campfire tales. They are fragments of history, stitched together by human emotion, tragedy, and the relentless passage of time. They remind us that the line between the living and the dead is far thinner than we might believe, and that sometimes, the most terrifying truths lie just beyond the veil. But why stop here? If these accounts have stirred something within you, a spark of curiosity, a shiver of excitement, I urge you to take the next step. Visit one of Washington's haunted places yourself. Walk the same halls where spirits are said to roam, stand in the rooms where history's echoes reverberate, and let the unknown brush against your senses. Whether you're a skeptic seeking proof or a believer eager to commune with the other side, these forsaken institutions offer an unparalleled opportunity to confront the mysteries that lie just beyond comprehension. There's nothing quite like experiencing the weight of decades-old despair firsthand, feeling the chill of a presence that defies explanation, or hearing the faint strains of voices from another time. And when you return, share your story. Did you feel the icy touch of a ghostly hand? Hear the faint tap of footsteps in an empty corridor? Or perhaps nothing happened at all, but isn't that silence just as intriguing? Your experiences add to the rich tapestry of lore surrounding these haunted places, ensuring their legacies endure for generations to come. Share your findings with fellow enthusiasts, document your journey, and keep the conversation alive. After all, every whisper contributes to the symphony of the supernatural. Until then, keep your lanterns lit and your courage steady. The spirits are waiting.